So we are here to, in this Q&A, to give some channelings, give some positivity, and really help you expand and know that there's a different choice that you can make instead of going the mainstream way into fear and hysteria and down that rabbit hole.
Some of the answers that the guides have given for this, I know is going to be very challenging for people, and it's not what you want to hear. But it's important that you do hear it. It's important that you do face those fears. It's important that you look in it and you really say, okay, well, you know, why am I not addressing these things? Because these things are happening to wake us up. With the coronavirus, it has really triggered in people this fear of death. That there are two ways of us that we're going to be dealing with fear. And that is whether we deal with the fear from our soul self, which is about healing, growth, understanding, or whether we deal with it from our ego self, which is control, separation. And that's what news does. That's what the media on that level of it, when it's ego operated, it will use control. It will use that keep everybody in that fear state to control everybody, everything. And they're not doing it consciously. It's the ego self in us. But it doesn't matter what the ego self is doing outside of you. It matters what the ego self is doing within you, okay? And so as we're elevating human consciousness right now, we also have to release all our fears, because fear is a stepping stone for growth.
Right.
So because people and climate change is not doing that, because it's not in people's faces. The people's faces that it is in, it's not getting shown. People that are losing their lives, people that are losing their homes, people that are going through not having food and droughts and everything, it's not on the news every single day. It's not in your face. But this is, because this is something that humanity feels as though it can control. Whereas climate change, it feels it can't. It's too big. And I have to make too much change that I don't want to make. Whereas the coronavirus, it's easy to say somebody out there needs to make a vaccine and take control of it. The difference between the fear-based of the ego about the virus and the fear-based of your soul is the fear-based of the ego wants somebody else to fix the problem. Run away from it. I want to live forever. The soul-based one is, I need to change my life. I need to change my views. I need to change who I am. That's harder in the short term. That's harder in the long term. So this one, the ego one, we carry this for years and years. We carry this fear and this stress and this pain. Whereas the soul one, we might have to face some pains in a short period of time, but out of that we release it and we find joy and peace and happiness and bliss with life. It's so much like that red pill or that blue pill. You can either stay in the illusion or you can wake up from it. And you have a choice. These diseases that come up, our eternal vaccine that we always look for everything is only a covering for the underlying disease that we see is within humanity. So these vaccines, we create more and more and more and more vaccines, but we're also producing more and more and more diseases. We're not fixing the problem. The problem is the way we live. Stress runs our lives. We are filled with chemicals every single day. We are completely disconnected from nature. Number one, stress. Stress lowers your immune system. So when you're high stress, you get a cold all the time, you get sick all the time. Your body is not able to fight it as well as when you're not stressed. So instead of dealing with the stress, instead of dealing with the chemicals that is within our life, instead of dealing with the disconnection from nature, we want to keep running this illusion of life. So we want quick fixes. We want to be able to quickly fix it. But stopping and facing these issues means that we have to change the way we live human life. That humans need a predator too. And this is something that we have spent so much time trying to protect ourselves as humanity. that we live as long as possible, that there's no wild animals, there's no harsh climates to deal with us. We have ACs, we have heaters, we try to keep everything in balance, we try to keep everything in our control. Now remember what I said at the beginning about that the ego self uses fear to control us. So instead of living in a state of flow with nature, with life, we've decided to control it. And us as human beings, because we get so disconnected from that balance, we get so attached to this one human life that we think we have, that we lose that flow, we lose that, and we create pain and separation around it. And it's important that we release that fear so that we can start continuing back into the flow of life. Connect with the things again that are connected to your heart. And the heart leads the way. Your mind is always going to be tracking back to the ego self of fear-based, abundance, control, safety, security. Whereas the heart is about freedom, joy, happiness, health, and growth. So when you go with the heart leads the way out of the fear, instead of your mind trying to control the fear. So instead of telling yourself that you shouldn't be afraid, listen to your heart. How do you feel about it right now? How do you feel about death? Feel that. Go straight there. And let that break through the clouds of the fear. Let that disintegrate and push the fear away. The mind will only try and control it. The mind does not experience life. The heart does. And that's what we are here to do. We are here to experience growth, emotional growth. That's why our soul takes the human form. We do not do that through the mind. Why do you think we all meditate to get to enlightenment? Because meditating stops the mind, clears the mind, and opens up the heart self. So whenever you're feeling afraid, stop and feel that. How am I feeling, and why am I feeling this way? That's the key. That's the healing. That's how you release yourself from fears, from going into them, from feeling them. So first address all those things. What am I attached to? And as you slowly release those things, you'll feel that this is an internal shift that happens. You start to feel lighter about things, and you start to notice that your mind is changing without you even doing anything. That you're not forcing yourself to think positive thoughts, that you're not telling yourself to be happy. You start to feel a different way. The heart controls the mind. The mind does not control the heart.
Yep.
So instead of us working from the head down, it's an endless battle. It's trying to constantly keep emptying a bucket of water that is from a leaking tap. Fix the tap. The tap is the heart state. And that's what's happening to us right now, is we're all being shown to start getting connected again with your heart. Stop running away with your life through your mind. And this was the most important one. It takes life back to the heart to see it clearly from there. So it's taking us all back to, back to the heart. When we lose someone in life, and this is a horrible thing, but whenever there is somebody has had a funeral, and you speak to those people that have lost somebody very close to them, whether it's an animal or a human, that person is not talking about the weather. They're not talking about their job that day. They're not talking about what clients they've got. They start to be very deep and very real. They have a window of time where nothing else in the world matters. They're just with their hearts. And that's what's happening today. That's what's happening right now when we're faced with death around us, when we're faced with that possibility, is we stop and we go to what's really important in life. I think there's two very important things to take away from this. Number one, souls that are leaving have agreed to leave. And number two, your only job into doing this is to make sure that you focus on what changes in your life that you want to bring happiness and health and love to you. What is important to you in your life? is that right now, instead of running away with the TV of fears, run away with your heart. Connect with what is important to you. Connect with what it is that you love and focus on that. Focus on your health. Focus on the things that, remember, the most important thing to health is happiness. Stress lowers the immune system.
Yep.
The more stressed we become in life, the lower our immune system becomes. So that is the first and most important health change before food, before anything else, is stress.
Yep.
And we are a nations countrywide of stress at the moment.
Yep.
So the two important things is, number one, is connect with that heart, connect with what you love in your life, and ask yourself, what can I do to bring my life more in alignment with my heart? Connecting with that heart self so that we can align our lives with that and start living the life with our souls as the forefront, not the ego self as the forefront. And we all have an ego self.
Yeah. And make a choice maybe to have more peace.
Exactly.
And harmony instead of fear and frustration and doubt. And that's basically reconnecting back to your heart, that's everything. Remember that everything that you choose for yourself, you vibrate out to the world, and everybody else around you feels that, and then we're all connected. That it's important that we realize that our energy underneath us, that how we're vibrating is deeper than our thoughts. So we can choose happy thoughts, but it's not going to change our vibrational level of how we really feel. Right. It's important that we face how we feel. Well, I hope this helped you guys. This was a big discussion. I know. But it's helpful. It's a tough issue because it's really, really, like I said, death is the biggest fear we have. And nobody wants their grandmother to die. Nobody wants their sick brother to die. That's a horrible thing. But we have to face these things. They happen in life in order for us to face them. They happen in life in order for our growth. Right. So we can either run away from it in fear, or we can do what we're doing right here, and that is connecting with it and trying to understand it and grow from it. Right. So and that raises the vibration. Let us know what you think about this. Send us your comments and your questions, because we can always do like a 15-minute or so, like a quickie follow-up for you, because I know this is big, and I know that you'll probably have questions, comments, and don't be afraid. Say whatever you think. If whatever side of the fence you're on, if you feel you can't face it, if you feel you can, we'd love to know what you think. And try and take this to heart without sounding funny and cheesy, because this is the perfect time, as Catherine said, with what's going on with the planet, for you to actually take a look at where you are and what you're feeling.